Recording. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. We are here with a special Pubcast edition. I'm here with Mr. Marwan Awar.
Hello.
Hello. Firstly, cheers.
Cheers. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I've got a little baby Coke. We're here in the Cookmere Inn in, near Seaford. And it's a fantastic pub, and thank you very much for them letting us film it here. And firstly, mate, Mr. Marwan Awar. Marwan, you've been just on a little trip, haven't you? You usually do that this time of year. At time of filming, it's like kind of January time. And tell us a little bit about your trip, your itinerary.
So yeah, I like going away for New Year's every year. It's just nice to explore somewhere for the New Year's, somewhere different, see how different places take it in. So my itinerary started off with Bratislava, with a day trip to Brno, then a couple of nights in Budapest, and then finishing off in Prague. So it was nice, squeezed all of that in 8-9 days, which was really, it was really good and really accessible, really cool.
So 8-9 days, you did pack a lot in there. That's really good. Shows you what's possible and to do it well. And I know you like to go on these trips pretty much it's like a calendar event for you, but this isn't the only trip you'll be doing in a year. I mean, we're going somewhere in just a few weeks, aren't we?
Yeah, so we've got our Team Ignite trip to Berlin, but I'm kind of taking it a bit of a step further. So I'm going to go for a couple of weeks to Germany, explore more of what I've not been to in Germany, because I've been previously back in 2018, but other places I want to go to as well as revisit. So going to start off in Hamburg, which I've been to, really love Hamburg. Go to Cologne, maybe do a day trip to Düsseldorf because they're very near, then spend a couple of nights in Frankfurt, then head back to Dresden before meeting everyone such as yourselves in Berlin.
Wunderbar. So there's a little teaser for the next travel itinerary podcast. As you know, some of you may know, there's about 3 different podcasts that you can access us on, and this one is our travel product related one, really focusing on some of the destinations, some of the tips. Let's use your recent trip as a little guide to what we can cover, Marwan. So where did you go first?
So I started in Bratislava. So I landed in Prague, then got a bus. So I got a bus because the times matched up better than the trains did. And going from Prague, went through Brno. So I kind of had an idea of if I had time, I'd go to Brno. But I started in Bratislava, so I got there late on the 29th, so I could just chill at the hotel. Then the 30th, I explored it. It's really such a lovely place, very small. You can walk it all in a day, and everything at such a relaxed pace. Then.
So I didn't realise that you flew into Prague and then you went to Bratislava. So let's do a bit of geography for those that don't know, right? So Prague is like kind of the capital of the Czech Republic, Chechnya. What are they calling it now?
Czechia.
I can't pronounce it. My language is not my skill. That's why I took travel and tourism at school rather than a language. So that's where you are there, and then Bratislava is the capital of Slovakia.
Correct, yeah. So because of how accessible Central Europe is, it's so easy to travel in between. Of course, being in the UK, where accessibility for us is driving 2 hours to Birmingham.
Yeah, true.
Which doesn't sound, which is not as appealing as going from, say, Vienna to Bratislava to Ljubljana, to Salzburg and what have you. So Bratislava, really accessible, and then after the day, because I'd booked an extra day. It was an extra spare day. I thought, you know what, I'm going to explore Brno now. Although Brno is in Czech Republic, it's actually closer to Bratislava than it is to Prague if you went by bus or train.
I didn't think of that. That's really interesting. That's a good idea.
Yeah, no, it was. And because my idea was to maybe explore Brno when I was in Prague, but what it did for me, because of how compact Bratislava is, it gave me an extra day in Prague by exploring Brno. So I did Brno on New Year's Eve and then got back in time in Bratislava to sort of enjoy, relax, have dinner and some local beers, explore the place, and it was really cool. It's so you could basically do those 2 cities in 2 days.
Wow, that's really good. And yeah, I definitely did Bratislava in a kind of day as well myself when I went. But this was many, many years ago in the mists of time when we were flying biplanes. No, but no, it was quite a while ago. And I did it backpacking, actually, thinking about it. So I went through, I think I was actually took the train down from, I actually took the ferry from Newhaven in Sussex to Dieppe in France, then up into Paris, then across to Belgium, so across to Brussels, spent some time in Brussels, then across to Cologne, spent some time in Cologne, and then the overnight train down to Vienna. And this is where I'm getting to the point on this. At Vienna, I spent some good days there, but then I caught the water ferry down the river Danube from Vienna down to Bratislava. Fantastic.
Danube believe it.
Danube believe it.
Danube believe it.
So there's the trademark Marwan pun. Yeah, and it was really that part was good actually. I definitely recommend either taking a water ferry or or even one of the really nice cruise lines down the Danube. That's a great way to do it. Obviously, I was backpacking, so there's no way I was taking a cruise line at the time. But if I did it again, I absolutely would do that. So that was a very beautiful way to come in from. So in fact, I didn't land in in Bratislava either.
No, it came down to what was available and where I could land and times and feasibility. Because if I fly out, I like to land early, early so that I could obviously enjoy a place for the day. I feel like I'm not losing a day and whatnot. But obviously, like for me, it was kind of like I wanted to. It wasn't even just a case of having that, but it was a case of I wanted to just get to a place on a certain date, so that I knew that Bratislava was small enough that I could kind of spend that day travelling and then just relax in the evening, so I was fresh for that day exploring. So just landing and then being tired, like we were in Naples, if you remember.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
That's another story for another time.
Yeah, we'll cover that in a future podcast.
So yeah, it's so I think because of how close and accessible it all is, it just made sense. So it worked out well, everything. And then of course after Bratislava, took a train to Budapest, which was about 2.5 hours.
Yeah, there's two main ways you would then hop over if you were doing it as a dual centre. The train's very good way to do it. It's a slow trip, but it's it's actually a really picturesque one, I think.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it's not even. It didn't really feel that. I think because going to Budapest, I got up so early, I just slept most of the way. But I mean, even then, because of technology these days, people will spend their time either catching up on work, watching Netflix or Amazon Prime, whatever. Because you can kind of, even on airplane mode, you can watch all of those or use them. But at the same time, it was, again, nice to use a different mode of transport. You could have taken the bus, but again, why do that when the train was available? When, again, trains are such good value when you're travelling across Europe, especially when you book in advance as well.
That's great, and I must tell a little story about Bratislava when I went backpacking it.
Uh-oh.
I did it how you shouldn't do it, right?
Yeah.
So for me, if I was to go again, I would definitely, and I will go again, I'm sure. I would certainly, stay in one of either the lovely accommodations they got there, they've got some great hotels. But also you stayed in. Well, tell us about the accommodation you stayed in.
Do you know what? So research, there wasn't really much available, and I booked in advance because of, you imagine anywhere New Year's is really popular. But I stayed in a hotel near the airport just because of availability, because Ubers and Bolts are so cheap. They were ridiculously cheap, so I didn't mind staying outside. But we're talking less than 10-minute journey from the centre. I mean, as long as you can find availability, you've got good options in the centre. But stayed near the airport, and but no, it was easy to get in, less than 10 minutes journey. It was sort of a no thrills kind of place, but it served its purpose, and it did the job.
Right, that leads me on to how I did it wrong. Okay, I imagine this guy arriving as a younger man, still had a bit of hair back then. Yeah. I'm still hunky, but I was hunkier. I arrived, would have been off this water ferry thinking, oh, I found a great youth hostel I want to stay in while I'm there, and it's got good reviews. I go there, I'm walking in, and as I walk, I eventually find this place. Bear in mind, there's no Google Maps or anything like that back then. We're talking in the dark ages here, buddy. And
I grew up in those, don't worry.
I know, you're not that. You're not.
I grew up
You're
in
not
those.
so young, are you?
I just look it.
So I wandered into this courtyard. I'm looking around, and I'm thinking, right, there's a sign there. That's the youth hostel, and the air conditioning unit is just hanging by its power cable off the, swinging from floors above. And I'm thinking, right, I'm keeping clear of that. I'm not getting good vibes. Yeah. I go up to the reception there. I go, hi, I just want a bed for the night. Don't mind if it's in a mixed room, whatever. And they say, oh no, we're totally booked out. I go, oh no, because I would go, what do I do now? I'm on a budget. I can't afford a hotel. I said, right, okay. I did have a backup youth hostel I made a list of, but it didn't have great reviews. So I'll go, if this place with the aircon unit hanging off a cable, off its power cable, is getting good reviews, what's this other place like? So I go to this other place, and it is like one of those Soviet-era buildings, the really utilitarian looking things.
Was it a former KGB place?
It kind of gave that vibe.
But you get a lot of those. You get a lot of those places.
Yeah. I was expecting to turn up to reception. It'd be like papers, but no, it was. I think it may have been a former school or something like that.
Yeah.
And I go there, and they've got rooms. And I go, do you get any linen? And they go, oh, linen's extra. I go, well, okay, whatever. They gave me something, but it wasn't right. And anyway, I go up into the bedroom and all that, and it's all great. And I swear that bed was definitely a bed bug place. It was not good. And I'm pretty sure, because on my walk to my room, the toilets were at the top of the corridor. My room was along it. It was a big shared room, and there was. How do I put the polite way? There was effluent flowing down these little runs along the corridor. Am I selling it to you?
Oh yeah, really selling it.
So that did taint my Bratislava experience. I'll be honest with you. That's how not to do it. Do it how Marwan has done it, or do it how I send my lovely customers to do it, and stay in a really nice accommodation, pre-book. Don't just turn up. However, what was great was that I went, obviously staying in a youth hostel, met some people there. We went out on town. Some fantastic restaurants, bars, clubs out on there, places to eat.
Oh yeah, plenty. No, honestly, and going at the time of year that I did, you had obviously your Christmas markets. Christmas markets always offer up something good, and and as you say, plenty of good options. So Bratislava definitely. It's when people think of Europe, especially say South Americans, even people from the US, they'll think of Paris, Rome, Barcelona, London. But no, Bratislava is definitely worth a visit. There's so much in Europe to visit that that isn't kind of like the main trendy thing. Like imagine people in the UK visiting elsewhere in the US apart from New York or California or Florida.
Okay. So I think that's it. Any particular sort of sites you would highlight in Bratislava to see?
Do you know what? I really like the castle's really nice. Just to walk up and around. It doesn't look like your typical castle. It looks more like sort of an old sort of royal residence kind of thing, sort of a posh residence. Think of high-rise, posh Mayfair kind of hotelish sort of thing. I would say the UFO tower is good because you get nice views of Bratislava itself as well. You've got the Blue Church, which was really cool. I'm sure you can guess what colour it is. Pink.
Is it? Yeah, pink.
Yeah, pink. Yeah. Yeah. No. And all that. So But no, yeah. So yeah, you got everything. Most of what you want to see in Bratislava is concentrating within a small area, and what have you. So it's it's definitely worth a look.
That's great, and we may do a deeper dive on Bratislava as well in the future. But I think, to be honest with you, you have covered everything I would highlight there. That and the Danube, have a look along the Danube, and don't be afraid to go outside of Bratislava as well, definitely is the tip.
No, definitely, don't be afraid to go outside. I mean, 100%, there's always something to see and to look at. And the important thing is ask the locals as well. Locals are always happy to give you tips.
Yeah, great. Now, we're going to move on swiftly to Budapest, or Budapest, as some people got it, but I call it Budapest. Now, we're going to the capital of my ancestral homeland here. So Budapest is the capital of Hungary. I took the water ferry down when I did that trip down into Budapest, but to be honest with you, I've been there so many times. I've flown in so many times. I've caught the train in because obviously I have friends, family there. I've got a deep connection there. You took the train, like you mentioned. What did you do when you got to the big the big station? Everyone tends to come. There's a few big stations in Budapest, but you would have come in from the top. Yeah,
I assume it was the big station, but literally got in, dumped my bags at the hotel, and I pre-booked the obviously the main thermal bath, Shishenyi, but I forgot how you pronounce it. I apologise if I butchered the language.
No, I can speak a little Hungarian, and I butcher it every time, so don't worry. Yeah. It's kind of that's the one. Is that the one attached to like the Gellert Hotel, the one which has the big outdoor pool and everything like that?
The big yellow building one. So had that pre-booked, and I thought to myself, like, it was New Year's Day. What's the first thing I want to do and start off the year? Start off in a thermal pool. Obviously a few errors on my side. Like I went into the wrong queue. I went to the general admissions queue, so then had to go into the correct queue, which obviously waited longer because I didn't go at the correct time. I tried to go in for when it opened, and of course, erroneous, I forgot to pack my flip-flops, so bought a pair of sliders there, plus a towel, and forgot to ask the hotel I was at for a spare towel. So I bought, wasn't cheap, but then rather than kind of sort of, beating myself up about it till getting negative, I actually chose to take it back with me and give it to my brother as a birthday present because it was his birthday recently. Just actually gave it to him before meeting you. So and obviously got it all cleaned up and everything. And it's good quality stuff, but it wasn't stuff I needed. And rather than wasting it, I thought do something useful with it. So when you do go and you pre-book flops because it's mandatory to have some footwear on there, and bring a towel with you if you don't want to buy from there already. But no, it's fantastic.
I've got one thing I've got to add at this point. Don't forget your trunks, okay? It seems obvious. Now, I went with a group of lads because obviously Budapest as well is a big, kind of stag destination as well. And I went with a group of guys. We're actually going as a club kind of trip. And we thought it would be hilarious to perhaps borrow one of the guys' pairs of trunks. So this particular one we were going into, I think it was a Sunday morning. It's men only. These different bar. There's lots of different baths in Budapest. By the way, there's lots of they're like Turkish baths. They're like spa type baths. And this one we went into, which I think is the downstairs, the inside of the one you did. Back then on the Sunday mornings, it was men only, and I think they might still segregate men and women, certainly during certain times. So you always do your research on that. But we decided to borrow his trunks so that when he turned up, he realised he hasn't got any trunks. And if you haven't got any trunks, you can still go in, but you have to wear a little bit of a cloth. And this cloth is like, imagine a tea towel, but a very small one.
I imagine something
with a piece of string. And he put this on, and he comes out the changing rooms. He goes, guys, I'm not sure which way round you wear this, because the tea towels only covers one side, so I don't know whether you covered the front or the back.
Sounds like a load of cock and ball, really. no, honestly, it's yeah. Do you know what? It sounds silly, like you saying that, not to forget your trunks. But again, there's always going to be that one person who has a nightmare and all that stuff. But no, it's but no.
Yeah. So if you do that, probably the easiest place is to pop onto somewhere like one of the shopping centres nearby. You grab some trunks, or even the more expensive shops on Vasi Utica. So that's the big main tourist trap street, which is worth walking down, but just bear in mind it's a tourist trap. The traders, some of them, the majority of them are great. One or two of the bar restaurants will scam you. so you'll get that everywhere. So that's the baths. You enjoyed the film Baths. Did you do did you do any? You went sort of on the outside pool and everything like that?
Yeah, just mainly stayed in the outside pool, stayed a couple of hours, and then by lunchtime it started to get really packed. So I spent 2 hours, and then I thought, time to go, get checked into the hotel, and use the rest of the day to do some sightseeing. So yeah, it worked out.
Oh, that's good. And just let you know, there is like a little routine, and people argue over what the routine is if you go into some of the more the inside baths, or you go to some of the more ones the locals use, and they do this routine of like a hot bath, a sauna steam, and then either a cold plunge pool, or on some of them they even have a bucket fills with cold water, and you pull the rope and the bucket pours over you. It's like freezing cold, and then you just complete that routine round and round again. It's really good, but you don't think it's good while you're going through it.
It's New Year's Day. It's cold. I don't think it was. I'm not built for the cold, so definitely not for me really.
And I think the one you went to might have had a swimming pool up in there as well. I'm not sure whether that's and that has the Europe's oldest wave machine or something like that. I don't know whether it's still running, but I think it did.
I didn't have a problem. There's so many pools. It's like one of the biggest in Budapest. But I wanted to try and book another pool while I was there called I think it was called Rudras. It's one of the oldest ones in Budapest. But then they do a Friday evening ticket, but that ticket goes from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. and then I was going to Prague the next morning, so I wouldn't have had the time. But research it. The Friday evening one, it allows you to go on the top, and you get a view of the Danube as well. And I would have loved to have gone to that. So that's one for next time, and it's one for you to consider if you're going to go there.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe we'll do a trip out there one day and cover all these different baths. We'll do them all. That's a great way. That's a definitely authentic experience. I'd strongly recommend doing when you're there. What else did you do while you're there, buddy?
Mainly just walked around. So, of course, walked around the Jewish quarter. Plenty of cool. I didn't really spend much time in there, but there's plenty of nice old bars and stuff and restaurants which would look good. Saw the massive old part, the Parliament building. Just admiring the architecture. The Parliament building is so beautiful. One of the nicest buildings, we've been in that region. That was really cool. Christmas market, saw the cathedral as well, the town hall. Went up Castle Hill. Castle Hill is good for the views as well. If you can get up to Castle Hill early in the day, that's definitely worth going to as well. So yeah, just walked around and just admired everything that I possibly could. Budapest isn't the biggest place, so you can definitely cover it in a couple of days.
Yeah, you can definitely cover all the essentials in a couple of days. I'd definitely say that. However, you could spend months there as well, because it is a big European capital city. But what makes it so accessible so quickly is the fact that there is really good public transport. There's the metros and the trams. And there's also taxis. Just be a bit careful from them. I would be personally pre-booking taxis if I were to catch them. You will find otherwise you might be taken on a magical mystery tour and have a rather large fare.
You've also got Bolts and Ubers out there as well. But yeah, the metro is it's more than really good. The metro is good, very reliable. Really, really good public transport links out there.
Yeah, and I've been going to Budapest since there were just 2 lines, and now I think there's 4 main lines, and there's also all the trams, which are great as well. I really recommend them. Let's hit on some of those destinations you visited as well within Budapest. You've got, you mentioned the Parliament building. So I think, and I will probably get some nasty comments if I get this wrong. I should know. I think it's the third largest Parliament building in the world, maybe.
Something we'll have to Google.
Maybe we'll have to check that. I have a feeling, I'm not confident with that. Tell us in the comments if I'm right or wrong. But it's certainly a two-house parliament, just like the UK. So, however, one of the houses I don't think is used anymore. So a two-house parliament basically means you have the Commons and the Lords. So you have like the nobility and the non-nobility, the elected officials. Now, I say this with deep regret because obviously someone coming from a family that had nobility heritage in Hungary, we don't have nobility in Hungary anymore. But they have a really great parliament there. So that's the sort of setup. It's well worth a tour, but you will have to book far in advance. It's worth seeing. You should also see the crown jewels as well, like the crown of Hungary. It's no king anymore. But anyway, but what was really interesting with the crown of Hungary, and why you'll see on the crown of which you'll see on the flag, etc., the cross on top is bent, and the reason for that is that they, during a certain uprising, etc., like that, a war, etc., they buried the crown, and the cross on the top got bent. But they kept it because it was a really good reflection of resilience of the people and all that sort of thing. So, little side note there. Now, I think the Parliament building is best viewed at night from the second place you said, the Castle Hill.
I could believe that. Like, I kind of just walked up to it before the sunset, but definitely you get such great views from Castle Hill, so I can imagine it being really good at night and during sunset from there. So, again, something to consider next time we go back there.
And my favourite word gets to get used here. The best way to get up there, vernacular. I'm passionate about these. If there's a vernacular, I'm going up it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I took a bus that went all the way up there anyway as well. So you got those two as well.
The vernacular, I'm just going to mention, I just love vernaculars. I'm a vernacular spotter. I actually get really bad vertigo, but I go up them just because. The why I say this is a good idea is because you can get one of the last vernaculars up at night, go up, and you'll then be able to walk where you would normally pay up on the Fisherman's Bastion, which is like a kind of white marble-ish stone, and you'll get to walk up on there. It's really ornate, really decorated. It looks like a fairy tale castle. And then you'll get to look out over the Danube, over the Parliament building. Great place for photos, for selfies. And normally, don't hold me to this, but normally the gates are open so you can walk up there for free after a certain time.
I didn't know. I know the gates weren't open, no, right? So possibly. But I'll throw in another place that's worth seeing that I really enjoyed, the Old Market Hall. That's an absolute classic. I mean, honestly, like it's... I mean, majority of it isn't like your standard sort of food market. It sells mainly fresh produce or old, say clothes or toys or whatever. You've only got a small section in the upstairs which is dedicated to like actual sort of cooked food there and then. But no, it's definitely worth having a look at for sure.
And you've hit on one of my top recommendations right there is the Grand Market, the Market Hall, Old Market Hall. It's at the end of Vasi Utica, the big tourist trap street. It's actually, if you went along Vasi, you've got the big market which you would go into, but if you went to your right, you would hit the Danube straight away, and you could cross the river, and then you've got the big Gellert Hotel with the baths, everything like that there. So that's a really a good place to kind of go and visit that little area all in one point. Now, that market, like you say, it's very authentic downstairs, lots of food, stuff like that. Generally, top tip with Hungarian markets and markets across Europe, go fairly early because, they're kind of all wrapped up by, quite into the day. Although this one, because it's the big one, will kind of have something going on most of the day. My top tip is, particularly if you want to keep costs low, you go upstairs, like you said, upstairs to the market, and food's great. You can get like some sort of Hungarian sausage and a piece of bread, It's not a meal without bread. That's a Hungarian saying. I won't try murder the language saying it in Hungarian, but it's not a meal without bread. So you get like a slice of bread, a bit of sausage, maybe some mustard or whatever, a beer, and you just get to look out, find somewhere to sit and look out over the market, eating, having a drink. It's really nice.
No, it's great as well, and and obviously if you can bag yourself a table, that's even a bonus. Because I mean, trying to walk through with food when it's packed and people not having spatial awareness is an interesting adventure.
Yeah, definitely, and it will get busy during certain points of the day there. So there those some great highlights. You mentioned the Jewish Quarter as well, definitely worth it, and there's a great Jewish museum there.
Yeah.
And that's quite a nice place to stay as well. Bit out, but again, metro options, all sorts of options to do. There is one we haven't mentioned, which is Statue Park. Now, if you're only there for a day or two, I would give Statue Park a miss. If you're there for longer, go. What it is all the Soviet era statues that there were. They took them obviously all out during after post 1989 when the obviously Soviet regime failed. Because for those of you who don't know, in Hungary, post 1945, it was controlled by essentially the Soviet states. And it became a Soviet state, and so post 1989, obviously when the Berlin Wall came down, all that sort of regime crumbled, and so there was all these Soviet statues and stuff like that about, and so they took them all up, and they thought, well, we don't want to get rid of them because we don't want to whitewash history. What do we do with them? So they stuck them all in a park out of town. So that's well worth going. There's also Roman ruins, like a Roman hippodrome and stuff like that, just out of town. No one realises, because unless you know to go for them, it's phenomenal. But what I would say is, if you're doing it for a couple of days, leave those two things out.
Also, another reason, ask the locals, because locals will happily tell you some good spots. I mean, I think I get that people can be shy, but it's always worth getting tips from locals, because they'll give you the best ones.
Oh yeah, and they're very hungry. I mean, when I was first starting to go to Hungary, apart from Budapest, not many people spoke English, mostly Russian and Hungarian. Like I said, my Hungarian's not good. But I can say one thing, we can toast ourselves in Hungarian. Egészségedre. So, what you find is with this is that it's now when you go to Budapest, certainly because the amount of American money flew in, the amount of American TV shows, the country very much a full-blown capitalist country. Most people will speak English, so which is really nice. Although do try and use a few words of Hungarian. Use your köszönöms for thank you and stuff like that. Have a look in. Probably you'll get some sort of guidebook. I grabbed an old one off the shelf. And sort of have a look in there. It will normally give you some sort of impronounceable words to try and use.
I mean, Google Translate as well. You can literally search that as well. Duolingo as well. I mean, we've got everything at the tip of our fingers as well. So definitely try and embrace the local culture and language, because they appreciate that.
Yeah, and they often look surprised when they see me maybe wearing something distinguishing me as a UK person. I come out with some Hungarian words, so that's really nice. But then you get stuck because they start speaking to you in Hungarian. You go whoa, whoa, whoa. But yeah, so that's a top tip there. I think really as well, we're going to move on from Budapest, but there is one thing I would say, if you're going for more than a few days, a little tip I will give you. There's two things you could do. One is like a day trip, which you can go down the river to, and you can get this by the train, by the way, to a little town, and I'm going to put it in the description as maybe a separate link, because we'll cover that in something else. But there's just going to be one selling point for this place, and we're going to cover it in a future one. Marzipan Museum. It's the most random museum I've ever discovered in my life. Imagine Michael Jackson in marzipan. So you're going to like a Madame Tussauds, but everything is in marzipan.
Okay. sounds bizarre.
It was bizarre, but it's really good. I've been like 2 or 3 times because you get to buy some marzipan afterwards, and I like marzipan. But yeah, so that's good, and it's a really nice, picturesque place to look round. But yeah, that's that. The other place is that if you are wanting to do like a dual centre, you can either go down to Lake Balaton, the largest inland lake in Europe, which is great there, and that in itself, there's several towns around Lake Balaton, or you can go to Eger, Hungary's second city, and with Eger, that's where a lot of the wine is produced in that region. It's also there's every denomination of the Catholic faith has like a church or like a monastery or something there, and there's lots of history there, and you can drink a lot of different wine there. So again, another story. But we're going to move on now. We're going to move on very quickly, moving to finish strong with Prague quickly. And again, we'll do a deeper dive on Prague. It deserves it. But let's quickly talk about that. What did you do? How did you get there? What did you do?
So I took a mix of train and bus. So I got a train to Bratislava and took a bus. Now, the reason I didn't go all the way to Prague is because, like, as great as it is, I could go direct. I didn't want to go stay on the train for 4, 5, 6 plus hours. I'd like to stretch my legs, grab a bite. I know I could have packed a load of snacks and whatever, but it's just I kind of planned it so I could have a stretch and a break. And the break I had was like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I got from the train station in Bratislava to the bus station by Bolt, and it took like 5, 6 minutes. And then I could grab a sandwich, a pizza slice, whatever. It's just to stretch and everything. But will say I think I'd probably stick to the train full on next time, just because the bus was the hottest. Honestly, sometimes those bus journeys are just stupidly hot and they don't put on the aircon, and you're kind of just hoping you'll survive. But otherwise, it worked out well and everything. But yeah, just bear that in mind.
Now, I've done Prague quite a few times. I've sent a lot of customers to Prague over the years, and normally we're kind of flying them in, flying them out on a nice low-cost airline. One top tip I would say is that sometimes, due to the weather patterns between Prague and the UK, don't schedule the last flight out, because if that's cancelled, you're in Prague for an extra day. So what I would say is that's my top tip for that one. And very relatively inexpensive to fly in and out. A few different options there, and that trip in from the airport, you can do a combination of kind of bus and metro, which works well, but you need to kind of know what you're doing. I do have some old video guides on that, but also what's really good is you can pre-book a airport transfer from the airport to your hotel, nice and simple. Definitely pre-book. It's a bit costlier just getting a transfer or a taxi when you arrive. So that's one tip I would give. Certainly getting there. When you're there, the metro system's great, I think.
Oh no, yeah, metro's great. The buses are great. Very like similar to Budapest, similar quality, and yeah, very cheap as well to use. And again, similar to Budapest, it's very compact, so easy to get around. And Prague was great. Stayed in a nice apart hotels. Apart hotels are becoming a bigger thing, and it was very convenient. Stayed near the National Museum and was walking distance from Wenceslas Square as well, which is one of the main squares in Prague, along with Old Town Square.
So that's Wenceslas, which is like good King Wenceslas. That's where the carol comes from. It's like he was a king of Bohemia, which is essentially now Prague.
Yeah, and got to grab something from one of the many Christmas markets they have in Prague and have a walk around and whatnot. And yeah, in Prague, yeah, sure. And we know that Prague is obviously well known here as like a capital for stag and hen do's and a party destination. But it's actually really good to explore. I went once before for my best friend's stag do, and of course, what happens on a stag do stays on a stag do. But it was nice to actually explore it for the place that it is, because you can imagine that Czechs aren't always best pleased to see many stag and hen groups as well, and not just from the UK, from other nations of Europe as well.
Yeah, I've never been on a stag or lads trip to Prague. I've been a few times. I've certainly sent some, but so that just goes to show you it's not like that kind of destination. It's a destination where you could go on a stag, you could go to propose. I've seen that. I've met people who literally as they're proposing there. It's beautiful. Imagine at night you've got this beautiful castle in the background and you're there going down on one knee proposing. Beautiful, and that's quite popular. So I remember that happening and me dragging a couple just after it happened into a pub, buying them a drink and everything like that. And it's really lovely. So there's a way for everyone to enjoy. It's great for families as well. Lots to see, lots of history, lots of great shopping. Lots, like you said, the Christmas markets are great, but they also have like kind of a year-round market in the main square near the.
So they have the year-round market in the Old Town Square near the astronomical church. I mean, down astronomical clock, not church. Excuse us there before I get abused. So speaking of that astronomical clock, so it was actually named the most overrated tourist attraction at one time. Actually, no, true story. It has been named that. Don't know why. I don't know what criteria there is to name something like that overrated. And all that, but I mean, and it's weird. Like you walk in there and just everyone's just. Honestly, I've never seen one small concentrated area packed with people just to take a photo of a big clock. Even at night as well, where things are clear, always plenty of people. But again, Prague is full of a lot of other places that you can visit, like the castle, which is similar to Bratislava, in terms of its design. But then you've got such a lovely cathedral, kind of within that complex. As well, beautiful cathedral. Yeah,
so the astronomical clock and the castle, let's break this down. So the astronomical clock is, imagine back in the days when you didn't have lots of entertainment on your phone, you wanted, but you had, this is the way that you can kind of have a really interesting sort of piece of entertainment. Imagine like a cuckoo clock coming out, but it's not. It's all these different figures coming out of it. It's a beautiful clock anyway by itself. When these figures aren't coming out, it's a beautiful photo in itself. But then at certain times, and I think normally what you want to get there is before 11 o'clock, get a good place to take a photo or a video, and then and double check the times. By the way, don't give me abuse if the time's different from what I remember. But I think it's 11 o'clock. And what you do is you stand there, and then all of a sudden all these little figures come out. And it's all like little like kind of mechanical figures doing little things. It's really entertaining. It's really great. So I don't know why it was rated overrated, but I suppose that's a great thing about travel. It's so subjective.
No, very subjective. And you actually gave me a good tip about Prague, which I couldn't. I'll explain why in a second. So Prague, I believe, has one of the oldest operating lifts in the world, actually, and I actually inquired about going on it, but they didn't do tours or of it on the day that they only do tours on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and the weekends. So that's of a note. So I turned up on the Monday, they didn't do it, and I was flying back on the Tuesday, so obviously couldn't do it. But yeah, it's something worth from what I researched, worth having a look at, but something to try again next time.
Yeah. So this lift, what's so special about a lift? What it is you just walk in. There's no door. You walk in, and it goes up and up and up, and you've got to make sure you get off the top floor, because then it comes round the other way. So imagine now the ceiling is the floor on the other side, and goes back down. So that there's one going down, one going up, but it's actually one lift. So that's quite interesting. So you always get a bit nervous and get off a floor earlier than you could. Personally, I didn't book a tour because this was pre-COVID when I did it, and to be honest with you, I just walked in there looking like I was a council worker, because it's in a council building, and just went up in the lift. So
yeah, no, it's something I would have definitely tried. I mean, I have skydived, I have jet skied, I've gorge scrambled, I've done all sorts of thrill-seeking stuff. So I'd have given it a go if I could have done. But again, something to look at for another time.
Yeah, it's a very low adrenaline thing though. Until it's great fun. And one quick tip about the square, the market stalls in the square near the astronomical clock. Bear in mind, as with most of these type of things in European cities, when they're selling you food like cut meat and stuff like that, it's normally per weight. so by the weight. So you see a price and you think, oh great, I'll have some of that, and they go, right, this much, or do you want a bit more, and you go, yeah. Before you know it, you're paying like 20 euros for a little bit of meat, because it's very overpriced normally.
I mean, look, the only thing I like from Christmas markets, the sausages in the bun with some ketchup. Honestly, that always paprika flavoured sausage as well. You can't say no to those.
And eating and drinking in Prague. Obviously, where we've mostly been talking here, the astronomical clock, is what we call Prague Old Town, which is definitely the place you want to visit. And if you can stay near there, if your budget allows, fantastic, because it's a great place to stay. What I would say is that eating and drinking, there's some great places right in the touristy bit of the Old Town, but even if you walk a minute or so off from the main squares, there's great places to eat and drink, and you'll notice the prices are dramatically less. Yeah. So that's a good tip on that as well. Other quick tips, there's lots of tips to give with currency exchange. Never change currency with anyone in the street. You'll probably end up with Bulgarian currency. And the other thing is ATMs, just be currency exchange. Never use a currency exchange. Use your ATM card or something like that.
I mean, I'll go a step further with some tips. So, nowadays, with technology, either if you've got a Monzo a bank account with Monzo or Starlink, definitely use those, because with Monzo and Starlink, when you pay on card, they don't charge you the exchange rate market. It's whatever the exchange rate is there is what you get charged. You don't get charged like the market rate or whatever. And if you're going to use an ATM to take cash out, go to a bank's ATM. Don't use a Euronet one, because again they'll rip you off with that. So with the bank charges. So you've got that. But of course, if you need to do currency exchange, obviously as a last resort, do some research around that. And also, if you're going to pay on card and it offers you either your local the local currency or your home currency, so for us, if we're offered either the Czech crown or pound sterling, always choose the Czech crown. You want to pay in local currency.
Absolutely, that's really good advice right there, folks. And so we're going to quickly go up to the castle now, and we're going to take the tram probably, because the tram system, you can get a ticket for either hours or days or whatever, which is really good. You can also use it on the vernacular. You can use it on the vernacular as well, which takes you up into the main park where the observatory is. But we're going to go up into the castle because we're only here for maybe a day or two. The castle itself, as you mentioned, it's part of it actually has its own UNESCO World Heritage status and things like that. There's a lot to see up there. There's lots of well-dressed, formal guards. There's lots of history there. You could spend a whole day up in that castle.
Oh no, definitely. Not just the complex. You've got the cathedral, as I mentioned earlier, which is such a beautiful building. As well, you've got the chapel. The really nice red building and stuff like that. The architecture's great as well. And there's another tip as well. So when you come out to leave the castle, there is an area where you can get a nice view of Prague from far away, but they'll block off vantage points. So there's little kind of areas where you can kind of put your camera out as well in there. But if we're talking about good views, I'll give you some extra tips. So I found some great places as well as some suggestions. So Petrin Tower is a place that you'll go for one of the best views of it. But if you want somewhere where you don't have to pay to get in, Letna Park is really good. Letna Park, Letna, is really, really good as well. And the park's really nice as well. So those two are definitely places to go if you want a nice sort of panoramic view of Prague as well. So definitely have a look at those.
100%. You bang on. You've got my recommendations right there. So, that's it. So definitely top tip, astronomical clock is a must. The castle is a must. Drink some Czech beer or some wine. The wine's fantastic. And it's extremely low cost. It's ridiculously low cost, particularly if you're just out of a touristy area. Food, it's like anywhere, it can be a mixed bag.
Yeah, so I remember I went to one place and had a massive pork knuckle, and I had to take some back in a box and have as breakfast, which luckily had a microwave in the apart hotel. But no, otherwise, yeah, I know. And I don't know if you found this in Czech Republic, they've got a massive thing for crisps as well, and all that stuff. So I remember I went to a Czech pub and I could just order a massive plate of crisps with some herb dip and then have a beer with it. I was like, yeah, I could dig that.
Yeah, they're big on their potato bases. That's with like all those kind of countries around that area, and also you've hit on my top recommendation for the food. The pork knuckle is really good, really good. Normally, wherever you go, normally it's pretty reliably good. Yeah. So that's all good. You'll notice as well, we've done 3 countries, and this is probably a good place to end it. My recommendation, if you're into goulash, have a goulash in each country and report back on how you rate it. I personally think the Hungarian goulash is the best. It tends to, some will switch out the paprika with pepper and stuff like that.
I mean, I only had goulash in Budapest because I thought, place to be and stuff. But Christ, I remember I went to this place that had that served goulash and langos. So I went there in the morning for langos and went back in the evening for goulash. I mean, I had langos in Bratislava and Budapest. I'll compare in a second. But goulash, I mean, I think I told you this as well. Obviously, when we were chatting on WhatsApp, I ordered a small goulash, and they gave me a large, but obviously only charged me for a small. Very kind of them. But Jesus bloody Christ, I struggled. Just about finished it, but oh my good God, did I honestly, it took me a while to recover from that.
I love goulash. I could live off it. It's like a beef stew. And I'm not that keen on beef stew, but it's or it can be other meats sometimes. But they use in Hungary they use paprika, which is like a pepper, but they use like the dried ground down dust normally, to make it. And some places switch that out for pepper and stuff like that. So it's really delicious. Have it with bread. It's not a meal without bread. And it's good, but it's really surprisingly filling, right? And yeah.
It doesn't look it, but I tell you what else is filling it, and that's the langos as well. So I had a langos in Bratislava and one in Budapest, and a traditional langos is sour cream and cheese. Wouldn't have thought that, but hey, there you go. But a langos is surprisingly filling and very bready. You wouldn't think it. It doesn't look big, but don't underestimate it. It is very filling, but it's obviously you get many different flavours, many different variations as well. So definitely give those a go.
And wash it down with a good beer. And on that note, I think that's we've covered these 3 destinations in a very whistle-stop tour. If you've got more questions, by all means, comment in the comment boxes which are available here, or if you're on like one of the podcast streams, reach out from into our social media accounts. If you want to book it, you could actually book these through us, couldn't you? Thinking about it?
Yeah, book them for us. I mean, this will be on our YouTube platforms and our social media platforms, so definitely reach out to either myself or Dan, and we'll get those booked for you, and obviously happily offer some advice and for itinerary ideas as well. But otherwise, on that note,
yeah, I suppose it's just it's time to say goodbye, really. So
it's goodbye from me, and have a wonderful week ahead.
And it's goodbye from him, and have a wonderful week ahead.